All the way in here?
Them Dominion can't keep their hands to themselves. Silence that thing. It's blocking our way to the monitor. Don't forget the echoes.
Hello, boys and girls. It's Red Saber here, and today we are going to be looking at oh fuck, my mass extinction build, which it's really mass extinction Mark II. This is my oldest build. This is the build that's been with me, gone through the most retrofits. I've screwed with it a lot. This is my main to go to. I have put this build through a crucible. Now, it is not my hardest hitting build, but it has the highest DPS. And what this build is just built for is just destroying hordes, which this game is a kind of a horde slayer. Alright, I'm just going to give you a brief overview of some of the guns I'm using on this build. We'll go into some explanation on the parts and components in a little bit. Okay, starting off right now, what is going to allow this build to really get its job going is Sullivan Green. Now, we're not actually going to use Sullivan Green. Now, on some of my other builds that you're going to see coming back up a little bit, you'll see me using the Sullivan Green because it is an actual primer. Yes, it's not the best primer, but it's very good at priming light arm enemies, such as just not elite enemies. Well, when I say elite, I need to actually specifically say, not the enemies would say that actually say their name elite on it. No, I mean enemies such like Valkyrs, anything that's over a grunt, it starts to suffer it. A grunt 2 to 3 shots with this, it will instantly prime and you detonate. You'll get even more combo damage off of it. There's no point of doing that with this build because we've got the resources. It would just be a waste of time. You'll just see in the gameplay. I won't even have time to do this. Now, someone like Bane or something like that, they can just... My Bane build, you'll just see me doing that because it'd be just a waste of time to get any of my other guns firing off. But we're going to be using this for its specific ability to increase Colossus's combo damage by 200%. Now, you don't need to use this, but it makes this build hit so much harder, and the rapid fire combos that you're going to be getting off of this build, there's no reason not to. You might as well get the maximum damage. In fact, I actually thinking about going back to what I said, I actually get bored at times doing certain sections of missions because I kill things too quickly with this. I might need to scale down the damage. That's why you'll see me running more of my Bane build, because I find that more enjoyable. Then he's got heavier armor, but this is more of a DPS spec Colossus. Now, we are not running any of the new guns because they are completely useless on this build, with the exception of if we're fighting a boss just because they have insane elemental resistance. That is the only reason why we are not running any of the... We might swap to. You can swap this out just in case you're fighting an enemy like, let's say, Monitor, who has insane elemental resistance, which you'll see in the actual footage. Even though this build can fight him, it does suffer a bit. Now we're running the Bomb of Juvenius for healing, but let's say you don't feel like running it, you don't have to. Now, the rolls that you want on the Renewed Courage are just armor. Damage is a plus. Yeah, armor and damage. You want both. Just because the 90% armor will scale in with Colossus's armor ability. His innate passive, which is to increase the armor actually he receives. I think he gets a 4 times buff on that. So 90% armor does actually affect his build a lot. Now, we also have 100% weapon damage on here, which allows us to not have to worry too much about chewing out a Valkyrie shield, especially when it's stacked in with this. We have 80% melee damage on this roll, as you can see. 28% weapon ammo. So we're going to have a lot of ammo reserves. 150% weapon damage. So right now we're sitting at, even if the weapon damage is divided by these two, we're sitting at a pretty good margin for weapon damage. Not including the built innate ability to buff itself. Now right now we're running the Bomb of Juvenius just for, again, healing. Now you're not going to roll, if you get these, you're not going to roll this for damage. It's not like how it used to be where they fixed a bug where it was the hardest hitting gun in game. One of my friends will actually tell you, if I can remember, I will text their name. This thing was hitting harder than Grave Digger and any of the other guns if you could hit a crit. Now, it was difficult, but if you hit a crit, like the nade launchers, they put all the other guns in the dirt. I'm talking about even pre-nerf. Why are we even having this conversation? It doesn't work the way it used to. You don't roll this for damage. I only have a damage roll just because, fuck it, if I do G2, then I don't need the survivability. It's just raw damage. Let's just get this fight over with. Now, I already showed the Sullivan Green off. I just have Recharge on here. That's what I normally run. But you don't need the roll. The rolls on this doesn't matter. Even if this is a masterwork component, it would still work just fine. Alright, we're running on here is Vasa's Arc, level 80 component. I lucked out and got a drop. Now, you're not going to want damage on this either. You wouldn't want gear recharge or gear capacity. Just because gear damage on this, because, again, it was nerfed. It used to be, like, putting out actual damage. Now it does not. It just, drops about, with my build, it's dropping about 5,000, and maybe 10,000 might be preferable to you, but we just want this thing to recharge as fast as freaking possible to allow us to get these rapid fire combos off. If I could get a better roll, I would use it for gear speed. I'd even drop some power for it. No, we won't go to components just yet. Now, we're running Berserker's Cry for more damage, even though most of the time you won't even get the chance to proc it, because everything will die around you. This is only really for just heavies or bosses, and most of the time I'm too busy clicking and turning off my Vasa's Arc to even remember that. Alright. Now, right now, we're running Demolition Tribute. This has support recharge, just in case I need to actually hammer on a heavy enemy, like a legendary Scar boss. Not legendary Scar boss, but like a Gate Lord or something like that, or a legendary Enforcer. They're the same freaking unit, they just don't die immediately. Alright, we're running Shock Treatment. You'll see Shock Treatment on a lot of my builds just because of the raw damage it'll give. It also will buff your ultimate, and Colossus, since he's a tank and on the front lines, he will always constantly be taking damage. Now we're running high capacity munitions. This will give us a 35% increase to our magazine capacity, which will allow us to use our LMG more effectively, which we'll get to in a little bit. Now we're actually going to skip the focus freeze just for a split second. Now we're running Catalytic Overdrive. This will increase our... After detonating a blast combo, this will increase our damage for our gear. Even though it says gear, I've noticed that it will increase my gun damage when it procs on my thing. Now I might be wrong. This is not word. This is not perfect. This is just word of mouth here, not fact. But I noticed it does increase my whatchamacallit, my gun damage on occasion. But this will help out with your ultimate. For some reason, this does affect your ultimate. And these things will stack into your ultimate. Now, we are running Vanguard's Emblem because what we're using is fire and electricity by 35%. We're running right now on our Colossus for fire, Meteor Smash. This is what we're going to be using to ignite our opponents. And we're just going to we'll sometimes just leave the fire just lying around. We'll even... If you know that there's an enemy coming up with this build, set the floor on fire. They run into it, combo them. And you'll start the whole process down. Now, why we're running Focus Freeze on this build, and why we specifically used a lot of ammo rolls, is because we're going to be bowling down. We're going to be rolling coal with the amount of bullets we're going to be firing. Like, smoke will be pouring out. Because Focus Freeze combined with this specific setup will allow you to reset your combos, rapid fire, on any target that doesn't just immediately die. Furies hate this. Anything that you combo that doesn't immediately die, a legendary, Scar Enforcer, this is to stop the issue that a lot of Colossus builds have, which is they can't pound down on a target. They do their combo, and then it's just boiling down to, I'm gonna just shoot you, or, melee. These are your only options as Colossus. Normally, you can't reset your combos like a certain types of Ranger build and stuff like that. Especially when you only have really one element. This gives us a secondary element to combo off of, and gives us an infinite combo loop as long as we have recharge on our Vasa's Arc. Which means this is going to hit hard, especially when we combine it in with the fact that we're running Sylvan Green. Now again, we're running Battle Cry, so if there is a unit that can be combo rapid fire, anything other than a Titan or a boss gets shredded. And Titans only because they're insane elemental resistance to being proc. The only thing that can completely ignore bosses and bosses and shields, even though we don't care about shields. Bosses, shields, and Titans defenses is, unfortunately, whether we like it or not, is the Storm's ultimate. But this build will allow you to just open fire and shred anything below that, and it can still handle a boss in upfront combat. Now again, this build has less survivability than some of my other ones, but it does bring a lot of damage to the table. And what I'm about to show you in these clips is some serious DPS being brought down. Also, I was tired while recording, and I didn't notice that I was doing the Legendary Stronghold. So, not Legendary Stronghold. The Special Event Stronghold. You're not supposed to do what I do. That is bad. You're supposed to go as an organized group, or Just at least take the time to allow people to collect everything. I didn't do that, and I was a dick. I was so tired I didn't realize it. Too bad. Suck it up. I'm sorry. But, till later, guys. How the fuck do I record this?
Awaits you, Lancer. Go forth to face it.
Wait, the path comes to an end? Is this the last stand of General Tarsus?
Tarsus took only a handful of knights. They had swiftness, but the enemy had overwhelming strength. And yet, Tarsus held her ground. Legionnaires stood against the might of the Urgoth horde. For if they wavered, if their fragile line broke, Antium would fall, and countless others with it. Met the Urgoth leader in battle and was struck a mortal blow. Even as Tarsus knew her life was ending, she fought on. As her life's blood ebbed, she drove the enemy back. Under the weight of inevitable death, you did not break. Arise and go forth, Lancer. One more trial awaits you. May the path lead you to the dawn. The Legionnaires stood against the might of the Urgoth Horde. For if they wavered, if their fragile line broke, Antium would fall, and countless others with it. Met the Urgoth leader in battle. He was struck a mortal blow. Even as Tarsis knew her life was ending, she fought on. As her life's blood ebbed, she drove the enemy back. You passed the test. Under the weight of inevitable death, you did not break. Arise and go forth, Lancer.
contract.
Didn't know Corvus had contracts.
Shit, the Tassa said that.